And we're live.
Oh, man.
Woo! Hi.
Oh, we are live. All right, let's do this. Hello, welcome back to the Uncensored Entrepreneurs. Today, we're excited to highlight an essential tool that we use, not just in business, but it also helps you align your personal life. We call it the SWOT analysis. So what's SWOT, you ask? This is a roadmap to understand, and in this case, we're going to talk about branding mostly in your business, but it's to align your strengths, identify weak points, spotting new opportunities, and anticipating potential threats in your market. So if you're serious about taking your brand to the next level, then this is an episode you won't want to miss. We'll see you on the inside.
And we're back.
And we are
have
back.
not all been together in like 5
Well,
years.
it is life has just been crazy, right? And that's why we're going to be talking a great deal about just planning your life, planning for your business, strategizing for the new year.
Balancing it.
Yeah. Obviously, I hate always leading into the fact that like, let's plan for 2025 as if 2024 is over. It's not. We're still going to finish strong, but I believe like this is the time to do it so that you're already building your pipeline, you're building some traction. And if you're going to pivot, if you're going to create new content or do anything else in regards to that, even if you're going to rebrand yourself or your business, this is like the time to do it, right? Because January 1st is not the time to do it. So with that being said, we're going to have some fun today. We are going to talk a little bit about this SWOT analysis I keep throwing around, mostly because on December 4th, a little plug here, December 4th from 8 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we're going to be doing a workshop. One of my brands is going to be doing a workshop around a brand SWOT analysis. It's something that's going to be a lot of fun. You'll get a lot of useful tools and tips and tricks. So I wanted to throw it at the Uncensored Entrepreneurs today. But let's first just talk about what's up. Like, what's up, everybody? What have you been up to for the last few weeks?
Let me tell you, it has been so crazy. I feel like every single week it was something. Last week it was the weather here in the South. I know Robert and I were getting hammered with these stupid hurricanes.
We've had bad weather.
No power, no internet. And then 3 weeks ago, I was down in Florida at Faith Over Fear. And I think I've seen half of Christina's house there.
I got lots of messages.
I'm like, oh my God, I love you so much. And I'm like, oh, I need to have you on this show. And they're like, oh, what's your show? And I'm like, oh, it's Uncensored Entrepreneurs. It's with Robert Wall and Christina Wiley. Oh, Christina Wiley. You know Christina?
They all had Christina shirts on. They all had Christina Whitley shirts on.
I'd infiltrate.
Let's take a pic and send it to her.
That's very kind. I got some really nice messages. Thank you, Tina. And thank you for speaking so highly of me. Look, you guys all need friends that speak really highly of you. And when you're not in the room, like that's so rare to have people that will put your name up for opportunities when you're not there. I'm so grateful for this crew and how we feel about each other and how we support each other.
Definitely. I love it.
Yeah, it's so funny that you say that, Christina. I'm actually speaking tomorrow at a business breakfast. And my topic is all around, personal branding. And it just happens to be, but yeah, can you believe it? I know I've never really talked about the subject, but you just actually took away one of the things that I'm leading in with, and that is your brand, your personal brand really is what people say about you when you're not in the room, right? So you just stated that. And that's why it is so important to have a strong circle and people that have got your back, because they're the ones that are going to stand up for you, your brand, your products, your services, and everything that you live for when you're not there to speak on that. So anyways, that's awesome. What a perfect segue. Right?
It's almost like we planned it and we didn't. And Tina, I know that you've got a lot. You just moved and you're settling in, and you've got a wedding planning and all that kind of stuff, man. Like that takes so much time. And first of all, I don't know how we woke up and it was the end of October and next week is Black Friday. Like what in the world? Thanksgiving.
Oh, it's like the end of October. It's actually the end of November.
Oh, did I say October?
Next thing you know, you're going to be talking about Boxing Day and everything else up there. Yeah.
November. And so like I've been working really hard behind the scenes. I got a new offer that's coming down the pipeline. I have a membership that I'm offering for people. But the last, you know what, I could be honest with you. The last week, I had a really, like the last couple of weeks been kind of celebrating my birthday because I was pregnant when I turned 40. And now I'm like, we had a beach party, went on a boat. I got to do a mastermind with one of my favorite people. I'm like, yes, like,
oh man, that sounds like a rough. Sounds like a really rough life. Actually,
girl in Cabo, she's hating life, and I feel so bad for Christina because, for the last couple of weeks she's had to like party hard and
sit at the beach and drink margaritas and
on the yacht thing. Yacht people. I was invited, actually.
I'm sure.
Cabo.
Right?
We'll have the wedding. I'll marry you guys.
Aww.
I'm actually going to have her on the show here pretty soon, but
great.
Tara Aldridge is who we're talking about.
Okay.
She is, oh my gosh, one of the most amazing humans I've ever had. We sat there in the corner of the swag shop at Faith Over Fear and talked for like an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And
she's amazing.
For those that don't, like, they can't visualize what's happening when Tina talks about the swag shop, right? So Faith Over Fear is a major entrepreneurial event. It's a great event. And you spend a lot of your time volunteering in the swag shop, selling a lot of the merchandise. But the beautiful thing about that is what a great positioning to be in, because you see everyone, like every single one of us goes through. And so you get a lot of touches through there.
And this year I brought Tony down with me, and he like got an surge of that entrepreneurship, and he is launching his new insurance business next year, and he met all the big wigs, and he is just like fired up. So I mean, events do help you stay in the right mindset for sure. And then I get to see one of my besties, Tyler Lusk, and we have a little fun all the time, beginning, morning, noon, and night.
It's so hard. I mean, you're telling us these stories, Tina. Christina's talking about yachts and just whatever, laying out. And I sit here, and people are going to get that wrong impression again, right? They're going to get that social media impression.
Like, this is why you haven't been on the show.
I deserve that yacht. Let me tell you, I deserve that time out there because I've worked so freaking hard.
Because last year, pregnant, I could not drink.
That's true. She couldn't even have a martini. She couldn't even have a.
Right. I'm turning 50 next month.
Wow.
Silence. Just everybody silent. There's nothing we're going to say about that.
Gosh, you've got like 20 years on me. I can't imagine.
Robert Maxwell Wall.
Right behind you, Tina.
Like, I was like, wait. Huh? Wait, no, it can't be right. And I'm like taking 2024 minus 1974. And I went, it is 50. But no, I don't think that's right. Like, man, I think I'm doing the calculations wrong.
Yeah. You look great. You look great for your age. So don't,
Yes,
by all means. And that's and for those that are sitting on the fence wondering if they should start their own business, that's what happens when you start your own business. The years start to shut off. You go back in time. Things are perfect. You're on yachts. You're on drinking martinis.
They didn't start their businesses until they were late 40s, early 50s.
Yeah.
Now look at them. Martha's a swimsuit model, and
Yeah, I mean, I just celebrated my 80th birthday, so I mean, if that doesn't tell you, no. But
look at him. Look how cute he looks.
You know what I mean? Oh, it's amazing.
He's Al Pacino.
So I will say though, so it's interesting, when you talk about as an entrepreneur, when you talk about, you worked hard. And so you're going to enjoy those times, those moments when you can play hard, when we travel, when we network with others. It is a luxury for the efforts that we put in. But the thing that most people, again, I just want a little wake up call, understanding how many hours, endless, hours all night that you've worked really hard to get where you're at now in business. And there's so many times I just had this conversation with someone that is looking to leave their corporate structure, going into business for themselves. And so we're laying out a roadmap for that. And I'm like, there's going to be days that you do truly have the ability to like 10, 20x what you currently make on an hourly rate. There's going to be other days that you start to actually calculate what it is. And, it may be free. It may be 25 cents an hour. It may be, and so really it's all about connecting yourself with something that you're just absolutely mission driven and passionate about. Because if you do, what's that?
And a lot of times too, like with Christina saying that she was on the yacht and everything like that. And she does sometimes show the hard stuff that she does, like the behind.
I didn't take a maternity leave. Most women sit at home and collect a paycheck and take care of a baby.
Right, like the
I know. I think you were DMing people from the hospital bed, quite honestly.
I created a new 6-figure income this year around having a baby. And yes, I was.
Do you remember? Hey guys, I'm on my way to the hospital, so I probably won't be on the show today.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I do remember that. Actually, your chauffeur was eating a sandwich on the way to the delivery.
Very relaxed he was.
But what you don't see as an entrepreneur is all the hard work. Like that iceberg picture that you see, just the little tip of the iceberg up there, but all this stuff down here, getting up early, staying up late, doing this, doing that, missing this, missing that,
working on the weekends, right? We work on the weekends. There's no weekend. We take the days off that we can when we want. But so there are, like, I work for the weekends all the time.
Right? Like work hard, play harder.
Yeah.
That's it.
Then you can go yachting.
What a perfect segue. Let's talk about working harder. You talk about that.
Smarter.
I know.
Smarter.
I just killed the mojo. I killed the mojo. Put your martinis and cigars away. It's time to get to business. So here's the thing. We talk about the tip of the iceberg. So let's just talk about like that base, the foundation, right? Setting yourself up for the new year. And especially if you are in any type of a digital-based business, if you're using social media, this is like the time to really start, digging deep into your business, who you are, which is why we're going to be talking a lot about taking this SWOT concept and really applying it to your personal brand, because that feeds into your business, right? And so we're just going to throw out some ideas. Again, there's a workshop, like I said, coming up on December 4th. And so what I want to let's just start off with this. What in the heck is SWOT? Anyone else want to throw it out there? There's 4 of us. We should be able to answer.
It's when you get one of those fly swatters and you swat the fly out of your house.
It's team. It's a team.
You're going to be evaluating your strengths, your weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. That's going to be internal as well as external. So those are the things that we're looking at to scale your business, pivot if you need to, start selling new products, all of those things.
What worked?
Absolutely.
What worked this year? What didn't work? What worked for you?
Exactly.
What didn't work for you?
And it's a very interesting thing, because like SWOT in itself, and for those who are just catching that, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. I have a little graph I'll share in a moment, but just so you can kind of picture it, right? And then I'll make sure you have the links to download everything. But it's a great tool for all kinds of things in life. Like you can apply SWOT to your marriage, to other things that you're doing in life, your hobbies.
Strengths and weaknesses of you, sweetheart. What is one of your strengths?
Yeah, that's right. It should be used as a dating tool, quite honestly. So you should just slide a credit application and a SWOT right across the table whenever you.
Like 2 years ago, Robert, how come you didn't?
Where were you?
All of your 99 first dates. Let's get the strengths and weaknesses out here.
That's right. That's right. So I will share some of my own along the way here. So let's throw out another little question here. Without Googling it, when did SWOT first come around?
Ooh.
Anyone have an idea?
Like in the 80s.
I didn't know this. I did obviously Google it, but do you have any idea?
In the 80s, because I've heard this probably.
What'd you say, Christina?
I said 1970, but I'm guessing.
That's pretty close. It's pretty close. All right. So 1960, Albert Humphrey is the one that originated this.
Wow.
And when he did it in 1960, it was called, you ready for this? No puns, please. The SWOT analysis, right? So it's called the SWOT analysis.
Tina really could have used that in her dating profile.
Only on this show would I already know this is a setup, right? So
whatsoever. You said so.
Oh my goodness. All right, the show's over. That's it. It's done. You know,
I was watching.
that was the analysis that should have been used for dating. No, I'm just joking.
That's what I said, right?
Throw it away. All right. Soft was at the time strengths, opportunities, faults, and still threats, right? So just they got rid of that. I think at some point people realized like it just wasn't a strong business term. So
faults,
we came up with
failures, negative.
So anyways, all right. So so let's just talk about like this is a great tool to use to kind of position what's currently working for you and what isn't. And then
what do you guys all do at the end of the year, like in November or December? Like, what do you guys like do to sit down and see what worked? What do you need to do? What do you need to change? Like, do you actually use the SWOT analysis or do you do something else right now?
Do you want to answer that, Star, first? I feel like you've been quiet.
For me,
or we talk too much.
It's kind of an ongoing process.
Always we talk too much.
I'll try something for a while, and if it's not working, it's like, okay, I'm not going to keep dedicating either resources, whether it be time or financial resources or team, to something that's just not working. So I'm kind of looking at that on a monthly basis, not necessarily doing the SWOT analysis, but I will see what's happening ongoing, and I will give it a little leeway as well. So I would say monthly, I'm kind of assessing things. And I love the SWOT though, because sometimes you can find yourself in a position where you're like, well, I just want this to work. And that kind of, when you take a look at everything, it kind of forces you to realize, okay, if this is not working, what else can I do in my business to actually gain that traction or that success? And sometimes it's like we say, those external factors, there's different things things can be going quite nicely for us. And then all of a sudden something will happen to where we have to adjust what's going on in our business.
Yeah, absolutely. And it allows you to, here's the thing, like we're so immersed in our business on the day to day that all the tweaks we make are typically geared towards two major things. One, if we see traction monetarily, then we try to throw more at it, more energy at it so that we can increase. The other thing is things that aren't working, we put our energy towards putting out fires, right? And so we spent all this time on these two areas that we kind of become blind to the long-term objective. And so just like you were saying, Star, this is a perfect time to really start laying those things down. The other thing that's fun about like doing a SWOT is if you just sit there, like in your own personal life, right? I talk about, your business is much more than products and services, right? It's about you. You are the brand in the end that people are buying. So if you sit there and you just focus on self, the internal, sit there and go, okay, what are some things that I'm really, really good at in my business? And then immediately as you list all those things out, you can go right on to the weak side. And that will allow you to also uncover those things that you may find you can outsource, right? That's like not even worth your time.
Yeah.
I know that for myself, when I was starting to go through this exercise again, I was like, man, I am still, even though I talk about it daily with my clients, I'm still spending way too much time on non-income producing activities and certain things that I know I can afford to outsource. So that's a big focal point. What are some other things that you found in just this? Like, let's think about the lower half, right? Opportunities and threats. Most of the time, opportunities is it can be a strength and a weakness. Anyone want to elaborate on that?
Yeah, no, I think that that's a great conversation to have. I'm like Star, that I evaluate my business every month, and I have a series of questions that do that so that I can be really strategic about what to adapt and adjust course. And I also adapt every time I'm looking at a new offer or a launch, like what's working, what isn't working, how could I serve the audience that I have right now, right? Because that shifts and changes. What's the need in the marketplace? Because that shifts and changes. Like we kind of have to be chameleons, right? We have to be chameleons for people and meet them where they're at. When it comes to opportunities, I think as you get more successful, the hard thing is saying no to even great opportunities.
That's what I was going to say. Cause
yes, that's exactly what came to mind as well.
Yes. And then I'm like,
you can't do it all. You can't.
Why did I do this?
So you got to do strategic partnerships and strategic yeses that are all going in the same direction of where you're going. And, it even comes down, it's been really interesting over the last and I'll let you in on this little piece because I run multiple businesses and one of them is a network marketing business. And, I'm watching girls out there just crush it, like bring in like 60 to 100 customers. Some of these influencers are bringing in like 4,000 customers in a year. And I look at what their social media looks like and I'm like, I'm totally capable of doing that and could create that. But I also have this brand, this long-term brand that's personal that I've been focusing on over here. And I can't swap into this. This is a piece of what I do, but it's not who I am. And so it's really interesting because you look at, okay, so where am I going to spend my time? What's going to be more advantageous? Where are those income producing activities? And do I want to shift and change into this person because they're getting the results over here? Or do I need to be strategic and still like put my blinders on and stay on course of what I'm creating long-term? And that's really hard. A lot of people will just pick up whatever's making money right now and tend to drop the ball on the big vision, the long-term vision. And then it confuses their audience and it makes things a lot more difficult in the long term.
Exactly. And that's why I focus a great deal on really looking at it from a branding perspective, because you're right. So often we sit here and we just think, oh, it's product, it's services, it's all of these things. And then we want that imposter syndrome creeps in. You see these other people producing it. You absolutely do not want to lose, your own like personal connection, your brand, your uniqueness, right? Your voice. And so it is easy. Now, I will say by doing some of this structured stuff, by writing things down and really doing a deep dive, it allows you to do a little of both. Like you can adjust to what maybe some of those that are doing really well in social media or whatever it is that they're doing marketing wise, you can adopt some of their things, but you don't lose your identity along the way. Because how often have we seen it, especially in network marketing, Christina, where those businesses are no longer around in a few years, right?
Well,
and so
a lot this year.
A lot in these last couple of years, right? If anything, that revealed.
And next week they're like, that company sucks. I'll never go back to them again.
Right.
And I also am like very careful with how I talk about the network marketing space, because although there's turmoil in that space, I really do believe that it is one of the best ways to create wealth and fuel other businesses and investments for the average person that has no capital, that doesn't know how, doesn't have the skills to build business. This is where they learn and get paid at the same time. So I'm a huge advocate of that. And I also realize, like, I don't know about you, but if you walk down the street, there's a lot of for lease signs. Like there's a lot of businesses that have been closing. I know 4 people in this last week that have been laid off from their regular job, right? So like we can't paint that industry with a brush that doesn't
that's true.
Other industries, And so
I mean, you're talking about airlines, you're talking about major box stores that are closing, right? And so restaurants that have been around for 50 years that are closing their doors. So when you think about that, you're right. That was just one example. So I think just in general, it's important to really like establish who you are and what your mission and purpose is in serving the world. Because if you continue to do that and you build that brand, yes, you can build a business brand. Many big people have, right? But there's usually somebody at the head that's attached to that. So if that company is gone tomorrow, whether it's digital online space, whether it's brick and mortar, you still have the ability to move forward with that know, like, and trust factor, right? And so that was really where I was going, was
important, right?
You're now seeing if this taught us anything, when you see a business close, the leaders that have established themselves as leaders and for a purpose, that's part of their brand, right? And they're obviously their moral compass is there, and all of those other things. You see them continue to go on. It doesn't matter about products and services. They continue to go on and build massive teams with massive momentum because of that, right?
Well, we were just talking about social media right before we went live about what social media platforms we're using, what we used to use, and what we're going to start using in 2025. And even though we are streaming right here on
I was gonna say, be careful, be careful.
No,
we need them to like us.
A lot of us are putting a lot of our energy into a few other platforms in 2025. And it's simply because the algorithm changes, the marketing changes, who you're targeting is changing, where they go are changing. So like I used to always be on the FB and the IG, always. And now I'm more on TT and Pinterest.
These acronyms, by the way, for those that are just catching it, we're talking about social media channels.
You know what we're talking about.
The algo is an interesting thing. It's really changed. And really, I think what Tina's alluding to was right before we went live, I talked about now that, like, even for ourselves, that my brand is monetized online. That comes with a cost, right? And so they've killed that organic growth, and they really want you to pay for advertising. And so it's another thing. It's another thing to look at. Opportunities. This would be a threat, by the way, when your algo is killed. So what are some other things that I can do? And I think the opportunity is, Star, you had mentioned it allows you now time to do some research on other platforms, other channels, spending energy in other areas.
And I wanted to really talk about what Christina's done with her brand. She's done a great job with her brand at being able to still offer, coaching, consulting services, as well as the wellness products and the network marketing that she does. I know you mentioned like this fear around losing your brand, but I've seen a lot of these women who've been able to make over $1 million in a year by getting in at the right time on that opportunity.
Absolutely.
That is so crucial. I know when I talk about when I sold on Etsy, I found a trending product at the right time before it went viral, before everybody was selling it. So I started selling those particular products. From there, I noticed I found an opportunity. People were not selling the actual supplies, and I became a supplier for the people who wanted to sell those products. And so oftentimes when you see a new opportunity, it's the right time for you to get in. A lot of people wait until, this thing is blown up or they didn't know about it. So I'm always kind of looking to see
Bitcoin.
Yes.
And by the way, that wasn't just 20 years ago now. That was just a year ago, and you would have made over 1,000%. So anyways, that's besides the point. Let's keep going.
Okay. Keep rolling.
Be evaluating the marketplace, be evaluating what your customers, your clients are doing, what's happening in society, what people are buying, and that sort of thing, so that you can make sure that you're making the right decisions and really get in at the right time. That could mean a 7-figure business for many of you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. So going back to the SWOT method, what do you think the biggest mistake is when most people sit down, and this is key for all of us, by the way, when you sit down and you start to just like make this graph and you start listing things out on paper and in your journal, what are some of the biggest mistakes you think when people do this exercise?
Some people aren't good at identifying their own strengths, or they're like, they don't really put value to it.
Isn't that interesting? I mean, let's pause a moment on that. So we typically can talk all day long about our weaknesses because we are our own worst coaches, which is why you shouldn't just not have a coach in your business, but that's besides the point. And so we're very critical, right? And so most people can make that long list. I don't do this. I don't do that. I don't like my hair. I don't like my, like whatever. You just continue to go through this big list. And then when it's like, what am I really good at? You're like, and you've got 2, 3 things. I see this in workshops all the time because it is hard. So a great way to overcome that is also to do a deep dive with the people that are closest to you, right? Yeah. Ask them what they think about you. Have any of you actually done this exercise in like the last few years where you gather most of your intel from your clients, your customers, your collaborative partners, your coaches?
That's how I got a lot of my my publishing package, is because when people were asking me how to publish their books, I kind of was like, okay, well, I'll show you how. And here's this little package. And they're like, oh, can you put this, this, and this in it? And I was like, oh. So, you know what I really need? I need that accountability. I need the editing. I need the formatting. I need this. I need that. I'm like, okay. So I start adding it. But one of the things that I do for all of my clients who publish their books, because a lot of people don't know how to describe themselves and create a bio. So I always tell them to ask somebody, put it on social media. What 3 words would you describe me as?
Yes.
You know what I mean? And so they go in there and they get all these words and then they get surprised. They're like, oh my gosh, a lot of people say I'm so organized and I'm the most unorganized person, or, whatever it is. And it's so amazing to me because some of the things that other people see in you, you don't see in yourself sometimes.
Yeah. Oh, that's
that objective view
true.
is like, I think having that objective view is important. If you do an audit like this, my second piece to that is go take it to a mentor, right? Go take it and say, hey, this is what I'm thinking about. These are the 2 options that I'm thinking about. Which way should you go? I just did that in a mastermind like 2 weeks ago. And I was like, this is the offer. And she's like, no, this is the offer. And I'm like, oh, that's the offer. Right? Like, and I was like, oh, I didn't see that side of it. But she's like, you should be leaning into this. And I was like,
so true.
Right.
True. And that was the disconnect, right? Like, because we typically, like, we know what we're passionate about. And like and that could be anything. Let's just say the offer isn't even a product and service. Let's say the offer is just your content that you put out to the world. How many times have you posted something, you've worked on something, and you put this content out and you're like, oh my gosh, that was the most amazing post I have ever posted in my life. And it gets like 3 likes, right? Yeah. And then you put out something that's absolutely horrible. I put this one out a while ago where it showed that little meme when the whispering in the ear and then like the hair on the arm stand up. And I thought, this is the stupidest post I've ever done. And it ended up with like 1,500 likes, right? So I'm like, you never know.
Just like a week ago. So Tony and I, we moved into our new home and I immediately, of course, started decorating for Christmas. So we are completely decorated. And behind you. Yeah, all this my cute stuff. I didn't do all 5 of my Christmas trees. We only did a couple other ones.
Counting.
We only did 20. But
oh my gosh.
So I did this one video on TikTok and it took me like 3 hours to like edit and do this and do that and do all this stuff. And it got like, 400 or 500 likes, comments, whatever. I take a picture, a little tiny video of Tony taking boxes back and forth from the outside little shed and bringing them in and saying that, when typical husbands complain about, taking your stuff in, and I have this amazing guy who loves Christmas as much as I do. He has 20,000 likes, like 400 comments, and totally went viral.
That's the way it works. That's the way it works. And another thing I'll put out there, since we're talking again about, SWOT and how it applies to your brand as well. Authenticity is like, I know it has been for the last couple of years, but I'm going to tell you right now, stamp that, put it absolutely like across everything in regards to your plan. 2025, stay as authentic as you can. These years, I have production equipment all over in my office, right? Where we used to use, green screens, and we've got cameras from different angles and all kinds of things. Like, those years are gone. I'm not saying they're not good. They're still good for some content for other podcasting formats, but it's about authenticity. You walking out of a hair salon and going live with somebody and talking about, this is what it looked like when I went in, and this is what it looked like when I came out. That's it. It'll go viral, right?
And so breaking down on camera, which I know Christina just had a little moment last week, but it probably went viral. And
sharing that moment, and it went viral within my company of people talking about it.
And I think it was right when we first started the show. You went on there and you were talking about some personal fertility stuff.
Yeah, I had miscarriages. It's fine.
Yeah. But it went completely viral. She was very authentic, and it wasn't that perfect hair, makeup, perfectly scripted.
Nobody cares.
Background. It doesn't.
Exactly. The why. So the why.
And the kid is picking his nose in the back of you, and your hair is all messed up, and that's when they're like, oh, you are a real person.
This is relatable. And it's so interesting that you bring that up, and I'm glad that we're talking about this, because authenticity is the key to it all. And even in that mastermind, the feedback was given to me that the pieces that I am the most scared to share because I feel sad or shameful, or the things that I've gone through. And we get this highlight reel of like, these are all my accomplishments. These are all the things that have gone well. These are my pieces of credibility. They're completely unrelatable to people like, oh, good for you guys. You've moved to Mexico and you're yachting. Like, good for you. Well, you also don't see the moments that I want to pull my freaking hair out because I don't know where to set up my Christmas tree this year, because it's taken 2.5 years to build a house, and they're way behind on that, and they're giving us false dates, and it's stressful every day. And like, we don't talk about the little things because we want to be this lighthouse and this positive influence and all the things, but we're all going through something in the background.
Absolutely. And, that's what sets up, by the way, again, when we talk about the 97% that fail in the first 5 years or close their business, it's really because of that. I mean, we as entrepreneurs should be doing a better job in staying as true and authentic to our, I don't know, fan base, the people that actually connect with us, our tribe, our true tribe. Like, we should be as authentic as possible, because most of those people right now that are buying courses online, that are downloading opportunities, getting that ebook, whatever it may be, or paying major like coaching fees, they're doing it based on an emotional pull, right? And most of that trigger is, I want more. I want more. I want money. And so when they see the fast cars, right, and they see the big houses, or they see the big yachts, right? I'm just saying, if that's all they see, it's good to show those, because you need to show what the equation is, right? This is the product of like the sum of all things of my hard work. But most people shelter you from that, right? So they just see those things. They jump in thinking it's going to be easy. They tell their friends, I just spent my last $5,000 because I'm going to be rich in a year. And then they fail, right, to execute. It's because no one talks about all the other stuff in between,
all the
right?
Failures,
all the hard work,
the failures. At least once a month, I think, am I really cut out for this? Like, we all have this insecurity within us. Like, here, I'm just going to be transparent. Yes. We're uncensored, right? We all think we're not enough. We all think we're not smart enough to do something. We all have those moments that we're like, what the hell are we doing? Like, why is this so difficult for me? We think it's personal. And it's like, no, it's that goddamn ladder climbing to the top of the mountain. And there isn't anybody helping at this time, but you can find communities. You can find support. You can find mentors and programs and things that will help you. But there's no skipping the line. And when we don't talk about that, we do a total disservice to our audience, even though it is uncomfortable, even though it might bring up emotions, even though it might be something you don't want to revisit, right? And a lot of the times people do it wrong too. If you've seen people get irate on social media, whether it's political, whether it's, the MLM industry can be a controversial place where people have a lot of opinions, right? And so you see them do it wrong because they're based in emotion as opposed to telling the story from a healed scar. And so you have to go through it behind the scenes and not word vomit and like show that chaos and then say, but I promise you, on the other side, you will come out of this stronger and better for it.
Oh, absolutely.
So many people do that too. When, whether you're on social media or regardless of where you're at, the authenticity and the stories that you tell are so important, because your stories, whether they're horrendous and you don't ever want to tell anybody, or they're great stories, they're still good stories to share. They're still your stories. And one of the things that I have learned since helping all these people publish their books, 6, 7, and 8-figure earners telling me who's going to read my story. I'm like, what? What? Everybody.
Those that matter will listen to your story. They will connect.
Like, what? Really? So like, Christina, you're saying that, we all do that. We all think that we're not enough. A lot of people put those, put 6, 7, and 8-figure earners, 9-figure earners way up here, and they're like, oh, they could do, no wrong or whatever. So they feel the same way that we do. They still have insecurities. They still have self-doubt. They still have self-sabotage. They still want more. They're still not as happy as they want to be. They're still not as skinny as they want to be. Like whatever it is, they still have these problems and they still think.
Why are you making it personal, Tina?
Why are you talking to us this way? Exactly.
I'm working on the weight, okay?
I definitely wasn't even talking to you about that.
But you know what I mean? We do. We all feel that way. And I wish that people realized that these are everyday humans just like you that have just gone through it and decided to override that feeling and say, how can I do this instead of I can't?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So I'm going to see if this works. Oh, technology works. Woo! Look at that. Look at that. Okay.
It's on our side today.
Yeah. So this is just an example. This is and by the way, when you talk about everything that you were saying, being authentic, right, and showing up and being vulnerable and understanding and connecting with people, letting them know that you have to get used to people saying no, like over and over and over again, and that's okay. Stay true to your mission. So when you think of some of these things, if you've ever thought about quitting your business, a SWOT is also very good because you can actually list that as a weakness, like my mindset. I need to continue to work on that, right? Or I have limiting beliefs, or from time to time, I realize that I spend too much time scrolling through and I have imposter syndrome because I'm looking at all these other people that I want to emulate. Stay true to who you are. Put that content out there continuously. I will say the other thing. So we talked about being authentic, being vulnerable, right, into the new year. Another big word is be consistent. Consistent in anything, even consistency in the wrong things, at least allows you to measure the results, right? So consistency. And Star, I see you nodding your head. You want to talk about consistency for a moment and what you've done with your business to track?
That was actually my word for this year.
You guys know I'm huge on consistency. So a lot of business owners are hopping around trying the latest trends and doing this and doing that. I think it's very important for you to be consistent with a strategy for a specific amount of time. You also noted earlier when I mentioned that I may assess something for the month, and if it's not working, I might still put a little bit more time to it, because sometimes things do take time for you to perfect them or to get the outcome that you need. But consistency is so crucial. I mean, I was able to build a 7-figure brand, and it was not from lack of consistency, right? It was consistently getting in front of the right people with the right product at the right time. And it didn't happen overnight. It wasn't a year. It wasn't 2 years. I had to do this consistently for years before.
Wait, you didn't make 6 figures in 30 days?
But
I'm quitting.
That's what I do. This is the biggest thing that I see in a lot of clients that I work with, is that lack of consistency and them quitting or giving up on a specific strategy or even the entire business.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. So I'm not going to go through this whole thing, but I'll just tell you that if you show up at the workshop December 4th from 8 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you will get this tool plus many other things along the way, plus a little mini course that'll roll out after that. But I'll just read the top line, because when you think of like brand and doing a branding SWOT analysis, most people still have a little bit of a disconnect. And how does that apply to me, my life, my business? Just look at the top line of each one of these, and then I'll take it off the screen. But when you look at like strengths, right? What core, by the way, I just realized I had a misspell there, but that's all right. All right. What core competencies or unique skills do I or my team bring to the table, right? That's a strength. A weakness would be, what areas do you feel you lack in efficiency or impact in your current strategy? Opportunity would be, what emerging trends could benefit from your brand or industry? I think that's an interesting thing. When you look at opportunities, is like, how do I align myself more with some more strategic partners or more collaborative partners in the new year? That in itself can really push your brand. I'll be talking about that again tomorrow. We had just mentioned that I'm doing an event tomorrow, but I always talk about alignment and building collaborative partnerships. And the reason is that's one of the fastest way to get your brand out there, right? You're both working together to expand that brand. And a threat would be like, what competitive pressures are you currently facing? And so, are your products and services old and outdated? Do they not warrant, themselves to today's market or next year? So you have to keep looking at that. I think a lot of people really could have used this tool, or hopefully they did use this tool when AI was introduced a couple of years ago. because that in itself really was a threat to many people, right? They really had to rethink how they were going to do their business. And I think one that comes to mind is like some of our original copywriters, right? People that were writing physical content all those years. And when AI came out, it was like, all right, I'm out of a job, right? But when they sat down, and those that were really good at analyzing their strengths and weaknesses, they aligned themselves with AI, and they're knocking it out right now. I mean, they huge content creators. Yeah, Star?
Yeah, I did an event on Monday. I was a guest speaker at an event for med spa owners, and it was really interesting because you just said a couple of years ago, and we're looking at strengths and we're looking at weaknesses. And one of the women on there, she felt threatened by AI. She was still one of those people who was afraid of AI, instead of looking at this like, okay, this is actually something that's emerging as an opportunity. Let me add it to the business. So we had to overcome objections around that with her. But I thought it was quite interesting that people are still afraid of it.
Yeah.
We don't have
so
a choice. We have to integrate it. Like I didn't want to be a part of it. And then I'm like, man, with these Tesla robots, like there is no going back. There's no going back from driverless cars. There's no going back from any of this. And so you either learn how to use it or you get left behind. It's like the industrial era, right? They started using farm equipment. And if you were still using horse and plow, like you don't have a chance.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm laughing because I just visualized that, in the next 5 years, everyone sees an AI version of us. Like the robot's going to sit down. Tina, you got to make sure it's wearing pink. It's got to be a pink robot, no matter what. You got exactly. So, but no, you're absolutely right. And so one of the last things I'll kind of just throw back in is I want to highlight again what typically is something that's overlooked when doing a SWOT. So when you do sit down and you spend the time and break things down, it's those that actually rush through it very quick. And then, so just continue to do a deep dive. Every single time you write something down, go back around and go one level deeper, continue to go one level deeper. And so you can do that easily by just asking yourself why. So here's one concept I'll just give that hopefully it helps. If you were to say, what's one good thing that I'm really, really good at? And you're like sales, right? So you just put down sales. Well, why are you good at sales? Well, because I have the ability to connect with people authentically and drill down and ask a lot of open-ended questions to be able to, close the opportunity and deal. And as a result of that, what are some threats and opportunities that would arise from it? So this is where it all continues to connect, and you really can build an amazing plan around it. So that's it for me. Any closing thoughts for each of you?
I just want to add for the weaknesses, when they're going through and identifying those weaknesses, what are you going to do to change it?
Yes, that's what I mean. Continue to ask one more question and go a level deeper.
Are you going to hire a coach? Or are you going to hire a team member to solve that problem? Don't just continue to leave it there as a weakness and let the business crumble.
Yeah.
Take action.
Absolutely.
Most definitely.
Absolutely. Any thoughts, Christina? I'm just gonna sit there and you're thinking about a yacht. You're thinking about a yacht and a martini right now, aren't you? I know.
It's not even noon yet, okay? It's not even noon. I'm going to the beach tomorrow. Here's the deal. So the beautiful thing about being an entrepreneur is that you get to decide where you focus your time, what you do on a daily basis, and exactly how you make money. If you are not strategic about that, you will end up working yourself into the ground and burning out. And so if I was going to reflect on anything in the next month or so, it would be like, how has the economy, how has your audience, how has all of that changed this year? What's shifted? What do people need right now? Where's the hole? Where's the pocket? What's not working right now? And why isn't it working? And what's the solution that you can provide? How can you do it better than your competition, right? Absolutely. How can you add more value than your competition? How can you do it at a better price? How can you do it all, right? And if you can come up with that offer that, like, it could be $100 offer. It could be $1,000 offer. It could be a $10,000 offer. But like, that's $1 million idea if you're willing to put in the work and actually like pull your audience. Like Tina said, you know, like ask questions online. If you're willing to do what is necessary for others, because what we were saying before is I thought my offer was going to be this, right? This is my wheelhouse. This is what I love to do. This is who I love to work with. But I'm leaving out 90% of my audience that needs my help here. Yeah, and if I don't serve that audience, I'm doing them a total disservice. So I might be able to help a handful of people doing what I love. But if I have the expertise to help, you know, 1,000 people at $1,000, that's $1 million. So why would you not put yourself all in on an offer that is going to give you the result that you want, and also be very strategic about how much time you spend in that space, right? So that's my 2 cents for at the end of the year.
I love that. Was more like 5 or 10 cents. That was amazing. Yeah,
at least absolutely.
10. Tina, any last close from you?
The next 6 weeks, 5 weeks, 6 weeks of the year, don't stop, don't quit, even if things have not worked out to where you want it to be this year. Don't quit, because how you're going to end this year is how you're going to start next year. So whether it's, you know, doing your SWOT analysis, whether it's getting your goals set up, whether it's, you know, creating your vision boards, and
even just content, right? I mean, content. You stay consistent.
Yeah, just get it all out. Know that you're going to end this year how you want next year to begin. And Christina is trying to be out. She's like, I'm out.
I see her. That's like, I don't know what that, the flashing moment.
My computer's frozen. I can't see that I'm actually, it's frozen for me. So I'm like, is the camera working?
So yes,
I don't know what happened.
Like Teresa Paul says, you know, you want to finish the year strong. So do this SWOT analysis. Get on Robert's, you know, workshop on December 4th. But before then, start writing out your goals, and all of your goals, even your personal, your financial, your business, you know, your travel goals, everything that you want to do. You know, get your word of the year. Start your goal setting for next year. And then start your vision board. And then that way, when you're doing the SWOT analysis with Robert on December 4th, you can be in the perfect little, I can't even think of the word.
Perfect alignment.
Yeah, perfect alignment for 2025. And you don't have to keep saying, I'm going to start January 1st.
That's it. That's it. And that's why we're doing this workshop now. Again, on December 4th, 8 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I know that's late for a lot of people. Even for myself, it's like you're getting the kiddos to bed before, you know, I get on a live event. But here's the thing, you know, we're catering to so many different time zones. And so we just got to put that out there. If you don't experience it live, try to come around and see a replay later. And speaking of replays, I'll just kind of end by saying, thank you again for watching us today live on the Uncensored Entrepreneurs. It was really nice to be all on to get together. Follow, like, and share.
Next week we will not be here because
exactly that's what I was going to say. Across social media, next week is Thanksgiving in the United States, so we will be honoring that by spending time with family and putting out a replay for next week. But we'll be coming back live the following week and bringing it to you. So we appreciate you all. If you are interested in the upcoming workshop.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving to everyone.
Yours.
Yeah, and if you'd like information on the workshop, I'll make sure that the link is put back into this replay as well going forward. So we appreciate each and every one of you. And as always, we will see you again on another episode of the Uncensored Entrepreneurs. Take care.